Joining us right now, the head coach of your Sacramento Kings. And I know I speak for everybody. We miss him. We miss those players. We miss Slamson, G-Man, everybody associated with it. So it's so nice to hear his voice. It's Luke Walton. Luke, it's Dave. How are you?
Dave, I'm doing okay with everything that's happening. It's I think it's important that as we talk, we at least always give a shout out and some love to the nurses, doctors, people that are working every day to kind of keep society going for what it is right now. But my family and I are doing well here, and excited to talk to you. It's nice to talk to somebody else besides the family once in a while.
See, the thing is, just so people understand, Luke and I talk a little bit offline, and we've got similar families. Yours are a little younger than mine, your kiddos. How do you find that? At home, dadding around, obviously being a husband, but you got the kids, you're trying to entertain them, and at the same time, maybe find some time for you and the wife to decompress. Is it tougher to coach the kids or the 15 basketball players?
Well, they both present unique challenges, but I'll tell you what, I love coaching my kids. I love coaching basketball, and it's one of those things you always talk about making the best out of whatever situation, and this is a very, very sad situation that we're in. But I'm doing everything I can to focus on enjoying some really solid quality family time that I don't get, that most of us never get. We're home eating dinner every night together at 7, and it's there's been some parts to this that have been unique and been nice to be able to enjoy. That being said, I still really miss coaching.
Right.
My coaching my guys, and we stay in contact. Whether it's me or the other coaches, the strength coaches, with the players constantly, just because no one knows what's going on, and no one knows if and when this thing starts again. And we're building something special here, and it's unfortunate that we're having this time apart, but we're staying in contact with the guys, and like I said, trying to make the best out of a bad situation.
I hear the, I don't know if it's hesitation or maybe the asterisk in your voice that we all do, because this is such a horrible time, and there are so many people suffering, and we want to get back to our regular jobs, whether it's coaching a team, doing a radio show, or so many people listening right now that can't. But we also, I think, we also have to find the best in it, the good in it, to enjoy it. And I would imagine for you, just kind of going back a little bit, people don't necessarily stop on it, but you played your life as a player. You were gone pretty much October to at least April, and on many of your teams until June. And then you become coach. You got a young family, and let's be honest, you're getting a chance to tuck in the kids and do some things that maybe, well, no, tuck the kids, nothing. That's probably all you used to be able to do half the time. Now you're able to do some things this time of year that you weren't, and I imagine it's a bright side in a tough situation.
Yeah, it is, and you nailed it there. It's we taught my son. I did a Zoom call with all my coaches a couple of days ago, and at the end of it, we asked the question, like, give us something real, give us something just to kind of keep the morale and trying to stay positive through this whole thing. What's been the best experience for you? And every coach had to go around, and a lot of it had to do with quality time with people. For me, for example, we taught my son. My son's 5. We taught him how to ride a bike 2 weeks ago, right? So It's like there's no way during with the job I have, I'm around every day to pick him up. He falls over, hurts himself, cries, and then wants to stop, and we're there to kind of do it day and day. In day 3, he picks it up, and since then it's like every day, Dad, let's go ride our bikes So I had to order myself a bike because I haven't rode a bike in 15 years. So, now, there's little things like that are, that are nice and kind of allow you to get lost in the moment and escape from the reality of which is the whole world is shut down right now. People are sick and people are dying. And that's something that can take you down a dark, depressing tunnel if you don't have some positive things to focus on.
Well, we can kind of do a circle of life thing here because, I imagine growing up, you had a ball playing dad. There were probably a couple of milestones with you and your brothers that he missed for work. And then when it comes to getting a bike, I remember that reminds me of a story Grant told me years ago. He was in Southern California. I forget what he was doing. And up pops this giant man on a bicycle with sunscreen plastered all over his face, and it's your dad, Bill, and he stops and says, "Hey, Grant, what's going on?" and talks to him for 20 minutes because he's the coolest guy in the world. So you could have probably borrowed a bike from him, but I think biking's certainly in your genetics.
Yeah, it's he's similar professions, right? So he didn't have a lot of time at home consistently when we were growing up. So we really. It was me and I had three brothers. There was four of us, and we were a little wild and crazy, but boy, did we love when he was around. So it's nice to be able to be around for my kids right now, at least. And he's actually, my dad is a huge bike rider. He does the tour of California. Every year he has a chance to. He does this Challenge Athletes Foundation. He's a big supporter of that, where it's people that have had major injuries, so they're missing legs or they can't really do sports or activities much without the help of others. So they start a bike ride in San Francisco and ride about 100 to 120 miles a day, and most of them are pushing injured athletes with them, and they go from San Francisco all the way down to San Diego. So he loves riding. He's actually doing a benefit ride. I think it's on Saturday, where they're still respecting the social distancing, but it's just to raise awareness. And he's encouraging everyone to get out on bikes, and they have sponsors, so they're raising a bunch of money. He's going to ride, like you were saying, all throughout San Diego, and just kind of continue to try to support what's going on right now in the world.
Luke Walton joining us, and we'll get to what King stuff we can here in a second, but it's just kind of nice to sit back and talk for a bit. That's a perfect segue with your dad. You and I are about the same age, and I was not old enough to really see your dad play. My knowledge of Bill Walton is from any personal experience in which he's the nicest dude in the world, to seeing him do his thing, color commentating, and you really enjoy his personality and the impression I think most people in our generation have of your dad is, he's going to go on his tangents. He's always got a smile on his face. He's doing his thing. But I'm watching I'm watching the Jordan documentary on Sunday, and there's a scene where Danny Ainge is talking about playing Jordan, and he's talking about how your dad was cussing him out, and then the camera focuses perfectly on your dad, and you didn't need to know how to read lips too well to say what language is coming out. It kind of reminded me that, once upon a time, man, your dad was the competitor's competitor back in the day.
Yeah, that was fun to watch. And how cool is that? Is that series right now? It's I've talked to guys on our team about it. It's for us that are in love with sports and haven't had a lot to watch. I was glued to that TV, and seeing those old clips and some of the behind the scenes footage, it just kind of makes you fall in love with basketball all over again. And seeing Jordan and those Bulls teams go through those first two episodes is pretty awesome. And then watching again, my dad is my dad, and now when I see him, it's all smiles, and he's helping other people, and he's a grandpa. So to see the clips of him slamming the ball and Danny saying what Danny said, and seeing Jordan give him a couple buckets there when he was scoring 63 in the Garden was pretty. It was pretty fun, man.
Now, I don't know if you know this, but the director of the Jordan doc is the same director that did the 30 for 30 on the Kings down in the Valley that never got shown. And I feel like I've asked you this off the air. I can't remember. Have you had a chance to see that 30 for 30 on the Kings yet?
I did. It was awesome. It was pretty. It was cool. I don't know if it was you. Somebody, when I first got up here, somebody showed it to me.
Okay.
Somebody, because I had no idea that they had, even made one. And then when I got here, someone, maybe someone in our PR department had a copy or something. I can't remember where I got it from. But no, I did not know that it was the same director. But those first two episodes, and then we get Dennis Rodman and Phil Jackson for the next two.
Yep.
I mean, I can't. Sundays again, the best day of the week.
These are the dumbest media questions, but let's just have a tiny bit of fun. I'm not a huge fan of generation to generation, but I will tell you, because they're within 20 some odd years of each other, maybe longer. I often have thought about, is that Jordan Bulls team the best team ever? Or is that, even that 73 win Warriors team that didn't win at all? And just for funsies, I won't ask you who's better, because then it'll get quoted and pasted everywhere. But do you think that would have been a good series between the two of them?
Between the Warriors and
the Bulls, prime Bulls, prime Warriors.
Oh God, I would have loved it. That would have been great basketball.
Right?
I mean, there's too much to. I mean, I'm with you. I don't like getting into these debates because it's like there's no way. The rules are different. I mean, the whole game is played. Like, who knows? Maybe in today's game, with the amount of 3-point shooting, there's no way to know. But I think everyone would agree that would be really, really entertaining. I'd love to watch those. I'd love to watch the hypothetical series between those Bulls teams and the Kobe, Shaq, Lakers there in the early 2000s. But yeah, there's nothing. There's no point to get into a deep debate over it.
Right.
It's just it's like It's like at a family barbecue and you just start arguing with your family over nothing for no reason.
You have an interesting perspective as both a player and a coach, and you go back and you watch, like, this doc, for example, and they're going to get into Jordan against those bad boy Pistons and just how much damage he took. And, there's like 20 plays a game that would be a flagrant 2 today. If you could wave a magic wand, do you think the game misses any of that physicality, or are you more of a open it up, 3-point shot, let's get rid of the dirtiness kind of guy? I'm kind of curious, as a fan, player, and coach, where you might land on that.
Yeah, I think the league's in a great place right now. I really do. But I would be lying to you if I didn't tell you I missed some of that. I just think there's some of that physicality just adds to the rivalries of, especially, when you get into the playoffs and some of that, I think the league is missing. But if that's what you have to give up to kind of get what we're getting now, and you get this, I mean, the skill level in the NBA right now, and the way the game's playing and this free flowing style of basketball is so much fun, I think, for the fans. That it's hard to really argue against it. But as a guy that grew up a basketball junkie and how much I love the game, there was definitely part of that the 80s physical no layup rule type of mentality. Even when I played, the game wasn't nearly as physical as it was in the 80s. But we had rules that if someone was hurting us, we still used to call it you hair lift the guy,
right?
And it was just kind of a common thing. And now it didn't happen all the time, but there's part of that I do miss out of the game. But I think the NBA has done an incredible job of continuing to change with the times and continuing to make it such a popular, entertaining sport for everyone to watch.
Luke Walton joining us. Luke and I were talking before I started rolling, and I he asked me about my dad, and I was going to segue into that, because many of you know my father had a stroke a few months ago, and Luke was one of many who were so kind and checking in constantly. You know, my dad and mom are doing great. They are about a mile from me, but I will tell you, I have taught them how to order groceries online after delivering them groceries for about 2 weeks, with the whole idea that you're in your 70s. Please don't leave the house. Please let me get these things for you. And I found out yesterday from my sister, who by the way, is freshly recovered from COVID-19, so that's good news. She told me he's been going to Taco Bell every day in the drive-thru because he just needs to get out of the house. I know you have a headstrong dad. I do as well. And I'll tell you, I'm actually having a tougher time, Luke, wrangling my father than I am my children at this point.
Yeah, I think a lot of people share that. And it's, you know, they're stubborn. The older they get, the more stubborn they get.
Yep.
And, it's crazy because they've spent their life taking care of others, and now
right.
Here we are trying to take care of them, and we're concerned and worried for them, and they just don't want to listen. And you know, talking to my dad and my mom, they're pretty good about it.
Sure.
My dad does go on his bike rides, but you know, he wears his mask and he doesn't ride with people anymore. My mom she still likes to go to my brother's house, but she claims she stays 6 feet apart. But there's grandkids everywhere, so I don't know how that works. But yeah, they're difficult to control. They don't listen as well as the children listen.
And then that brings us to the other people that you've got to wrangle sometimes, more of a partnership, and that's your players on the Sacramento Kings. And you know, there's really no way to get into this, Luke. The game stopped, and of all places, you know, right on the on the eve, minutes before the matchup with Pelicans, and there's no context, there's no history, there's no way to really say, well, you know, you've been through this before. You haven't. I know that we could spend 3 hours drawing the blueprint from that point till now, but since I haven't talked to you yet, I'm curious. Take us through just a little bit from, you know, you guys are getting ready to play, and then next thing you know, I don't even know, do you even do exit interviews at this point, or is everything just kind of limboed out?
No, it's limboed out because it's, you know, it's one of those things where we don't want to do exit interviews if the season's going to start up again. But it's you know, like I said earlier, we're in constant communication with our guys. And, you know, when that night came, it was so wild because, you know, I've been around the NBA a long time. The NBA doesn't stop.
Right.
It's a machine, and everything, you know, we're watching the clock tick down. We have the Mavericks game on in the background, and you can see that they had canceled the Oklahoma City game, and then they were relaying stuff to Mark Cuban, and he was so all this stuff is going on, and meanwhile we're prepping for our game. It's a big game for us, and we were playing really good basketball, and our guys were excited to play that night. So, you know, the rumors start that it's gonna, you know, they're gonna cancel all the games from starting tomorrow. So, you know, we kind of go out there and ask the players, you know, how they're feeling, what do they want to do, and our guys were juiced. They wanted to play. They were like, well, that's good. They, you know, at the time, we didn't know how serious this thing was going to become. But I was, you know, you like to see that out of your guys, and then all of a sudden, the whole thing shuts down. And you know, since then, we've been on the phone with them. We, you know, offer, you know, training equipment from weights to treadmills to get delivered to players' houses. You know, whatever we can do to try to help during this thing is all we can do. And you know, I'm one minute on the phone with the front office, and then players and coaches. I want them continuing to reach out to all the players that they work with and try to keep this thing going. And it's just like we touched on earlier. It's a terrible situation we're in, and really proud of the guys we have and what they've done to step up and help others. I think that again goes back to what we've been saying all year about what type of people Vlade's brought in here, and whether it's our Serbian players and Vlade getting together and helping out people back in Serbia, because this thing's affecting everyone in the world. This isn't just a local thing, and Corey Joe helping out people back in Toronto, and a lot of the guys helping out here in Sacramento is just is pretty awesome that we have those type of guys, and it's one of those things. Though it's exit meetings. No, I talk with the coaches about different plans and this and that. Talk to front office about drafts. Nobody knows when the draft is going to be,
right.
But so there's all these different things playing out, and we're just kind of trying to stay ready for everything and keep in perspective throughout it all that more importantly than our jobs and when we'll start playing again is really just the health and safety of everybody, the fans, the reporters, the everyone that's affected by this, and that kind of allows makes it a little easier to not get so caught up in missing the work.
Luke Walton with us, and Phil Jackson well. Now just going back to the doc and seeing Phil come in, and it always seemed like Tex Winter was the X and O guy, and Phil was so great at psychology, and I'm sure the truth is somewhere in the middle, but Phil was good at psychology, and it makes me think now your job as a coach, Vlade's job as the GM, you just kind of put it out there. Like you got players that got to stay in shape, and I imagine most of them are doing great on their own there just naturally, but you don't know if you're going to start back with a season and finish off the last few games. You don't know if you're going to have a draft, and if you do, where the hell you're picking. So I imagine a lot of this for you is just psychology, not just for you being in limbo, but also making sure everybody's staying connected and staying engaged and ready to go at a moment's notice.
Yeah, it again to me comes back to where this is a difficult time for everyone, and the challenge is to find the opportunity in that, and to find the opportunity to have the players, really buy into trying to grow as people. And the guys we have, I have no doubt that they're, if they got courts at home, they're getting their shots. And we got some basketball gym rats on our team. But what's important is that they use this time to, whether it is to connect closer with their families, or to read more, or we talk a lot with our group about the importance of meditation, and something along those lines to keep developing as people is a great opportunity right now for them to do that.
And obviously, and you and I keep reiterating it, there are bigger things in basketball. There's bigger things going on right now, and we're all extremely aware of that affecting our own families and our loved ones. But just talking from a pure basketball standpoint for a second, it seemed like you turned the corner. It seemed like the team was figuring it out. And I am curious, now that you've had, a month plus to look back, is there something you put your finger on? Is it Buddy being the sixth man, bringing in Bazemore and Len, people just buying in? What is it that took this team from multiple losing streaks? And, that time when there was the Minnesota and Phoenix losses back-to-back, when one had lost, 8 in a row, and the other lost 11, to that comeback and that emotional game after the announcement of the passing of Kobe and against Minnesota. What was it that you think finally clicked for this team?
Well, I think there's a lot of variables that come into play with that, and there's always, every team goes through it, and there's always challenges, unique challenges. Even the championships teams, you watch them, go back to the documentary, you look at what the Bulls were going through. Scotty holds out, and so there's every team goes through it. But with us, I think with the new coaching staff coming into town, new players coming into town, starting 0-5, then Marvin breaking his thumb game one, and then kind of finding a rhythm, and then Fox going out, and then we have to play a different brand of basketball without Fox and Marvin out there. We dropped it to pretty much a 7-8 man rotation there for a while, and there's all these things happening. Meanwhile, we're still, as a coaching staff, figuring out who we are as a team and what our strengths are and what our weaknesses are and where we really need to put our focus at. And we're continuing to message and work on what I know and what I believe to be critical to us becoming a consistent winning basketball team. And there's all these things that are happening. And that just takes time. Sometimes it's quicker than others. And, but for our guys to go through all the different things we went through this season and to continue to stick together, for us to continue to, I talked to Buddy about it. I didn't go through it as a player, but it was a similar situation when I did play in LA, where Phil was trying to find the best chemistry and flow for the entire team. And he moved Lamar Odom to the bench. Lamar Odom was an all-star, and started his whole career, and he moved him to the bench. We did the same thing in Golden State. Steve moved Andre to the bench and started young Harrison, and just for the whole chemistry to flow better. And moving, trying to find those combinations still, moving Buddy to the bench, not to turn him into a bench player, but just to, again, help the team. And Buddy just took off in that role. And Bogey had a real nice flow and chemistry with, Belly and some of the starters. And the team just, we got to know each other. We trusted each other. And we got to a really nice place where, as a coach, what you're looking for is just the consistency in how you're playing. And then you can live. I mean, the losses still keep you up all night, but as long as you're playing that way, you're happy as a coach, and you can start really nitpicking the details of what we're doing as a team. And I felt like we got there, in those final 20-25 games, and we were playing a fun brand of ball, and it just took time to get there. And it's unfortunate that we had to stop, but it was really encouraging and exciting about the future of the group and getting back after it whenever that time comes.
And just quick follow-up with Buddy as we wrap up. Dang, Luke, every time you and I talk, I look down and we're like 30 minutes. I apologize. Luke's nice enough to call up. He put his kids to bed. I'll spend 10 minutes with Dave 30 minutes later.
And we like to talk for 20 minutes before we even get on here.
Right, exactly. So, a lot media fans, we all look in the fishbowl, and sometimes things are distorted. Things can get blown out of proportion, or everyone's always so hungry for information and drama and all that. What a lot of people I don't realize, and I don't think I'm telling tales out of school. Buddy's been a very vocal dude, and it was last year before he got here with Coach Yeager, and into this year. And I think fans worry about that because we are a one-horse town. But I think a lot of people don't realize that you've been very active with Buddy this year, and teams are a family, and it's always seemed like behind the scenes your relationship is just fantastic. So just to kind of put a lid on that, it sounds like you, Buddy, and his head and his role are in a pretty darn good place right now, or at least, of course, when the season paused, we're in a good spot.
Yeah, and look, there's always going to be, some bumps, and I think that's why it's so important to me as a coach that we get in here and we put that time and work and communication with our players to build the relationships that mean something, and the relationships that build trust with each other, because there's going to be trying times, and Buddy speaks his mind, but we love Buddy. We love the way he works. We love the way he competes. Was he happy about not starting? No. Did he pout, and was he detrimental to the team? Absolutely not. He embraced it, and we don't go on, that nice run we were going on without what he was bringing to the table. And, that's the type of guy you want around, and that's the type of team you want to be on, that you can handle some adversity and still find ways to succeed and support each other. So, ups and downs, we're in a good place, and I love coaching Buddy, and it's he's a big part of our team.
Well, and then that seems like a good place to wind down. We all had a laugh that the NBA had screwed up on Buddy's age all these years, and we got another year with Buddy. I'm sure you've seen the pictures. Does it surprise you that your star point guard is actually 17 years old?
It looks. I like the haircut. He does look young, but I'm a fan of the haircut. I hope that he carries that into whenever we start playing again.
He might actually be faster now. That's crazy.
I would think so. I would think so.
All right, my man. Well, we appreciate you checking in. This is a weird time, a tough time for everyone. I know there's a lot of people listening right now that just any sense of normalcy is a good thing. And hearing your voice and just talking Kings and what we can. And I'm going to embarrass Luke, too. I've made no secret about it. I love Luke Walton. I think he's a class dude. And it was just a few days ago. I had a friend call me who had a friend who had a little boy, 11 years old, wasn't able to go to a game. That's what he was going to do. His birthday, I believe, fell on the last game of the season. He missed it. He was upset, and I made a couple phone calls, and the first one was to Luke Walton, asking him if he could just cut a quick video to this kid and tell him hello and can't wait to see him. And I had a video back. Actually, I had two videos back within 5 minutes. And sorry, dude, but I'm going to embarrass you. That's the type of dude you are. And we're proud to have you in this community. And hopefully, I'm sure when this thing's all said and done, you can go back to getting to know this place and your neighborhood and falling in love with the city just like we have.
Well, I appreciate it, Dave. And, it's like I said, it's a tough time for everyone. So we gotta stick together. We gotta be smart, protect each other, help each other. And one more shout out and thanks to all those workers that are putting their health on the line to allow us to somewhat have some normalcy happening. So it was nice talking to you. I hope people listening get a chance to just unwind and relax for a little bit. And, let's do it again soon.
All right. Give our love to the fam, and you take care, my man. Appreciate your time.
Yeah. You too, Dave.